I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, February the 22nd, brought to you in part by WWIII. WWIII delivers the highest value tub for your feed dollar. It has been their mission for the last 30 years. It's a great, convenient, and economical source of energy to help get your cattle through these cold spells. Get the blue tub, now available at MFA for you Missouri producers, and Wildcat Feeds if you're in Kansas. For more information, go to WWIII.com. Will the next Black Swan be World War III? I know that's scary to consider, and scary anytime we hear somebody mention World War III or something like that, but you know what I mean by the Black Swan events, the things that happen that have a big effect on the market, but they don't have anything to do with market fundamentals. You look back and we saw the mad cow that stole Christmas with BSE. That was a black swan. We saw the fire at the Holcomb County, Kansas Tyson Fresh Meats plant there a few years ago. That was a black swan. The pandemic was a black swan. And that's about the only thing that could knock this market off its pedestal. Because I mean, we are surging. We've got extremely tight numbers of all classes of cattle, and the market keeps going up. We've kind of got some inertia behind this thing now, and it's going to keep rolling. We saw a new high that we haven't seen for years and years just on Tuesday here in Iowa, with some cattle bringing 164 a negotiated trade direct out in the country. So we're just gaining. It's going to be at least that, we would think, if the guys stay dug in there. But we got that big cold spell coming. That's probably going to spur the market a little more, although it's going to squeeze a lot of weight off the cattle and going to make it even more miserable. They've had such a miserable winter up in the northern plains. But talk about this threat of World War III. President Magoo went over to the Ukraine on Tuesday and was over there, and then went to Poland and was speaking and basically declaring war. I guess you could say that. Maybe he didn't give them a written out declaration, but everything he was saying was basically declaring war on them. We've given, or he's given, $100 million of our money to them, to Ukraine, to buy weapons against Russia. I spent my whole childhood thinking that we were going to have a war with Russia in the Cold War. A lot of you guys did. We had movies about it. We were always afraid of that. But that really got backed off, in the last 20 years or 30, and we haven't had to worry about that. But we never wanted a war with Russia. And why are we doing it? To save Ukraine because they're such a free country? Well, they don't have a freedom of religion, and they don't have freedom of speech or freedom of press. I'm not sure how free they are. Their little president over there, he's just kind of a slapstick comedian that's gotten way too much power. But, he doesn't seem to be suffering too much. He's always got a fresh sweatsuit on every time you see him on TV. But there we had our president over there walking out in front of a military parade there, and then getting up and basically threatening war. And I tell you what, nothing would kill this market quicker than something like that. And you think, oh well, we'd still have tight supplies. Well, we've had world wars that have caused the government to set the price for beef and different kinds of foods, and you think, oh man, that could never happen. Well, we never thought that we would have an Alzheimer's victim standing up there in the fog of being out of his head and confused and dazed, just reading off a teleprompter and thinking that he's so quick-witted and really a great leader. That teleprompter, who's typing that stuff into the teleprompter? We know those are not his words, but he would read anything off that teleprompter like Ron Burgundy would. But I tell you what, guys, it is getting scary out there. We have a big war, especially now that Russia and China seem to be combining their efforts. We would not be favored in that war. I hate to say it, we would not be favored in that war. I think the only reason that we're supporting the Ukrainians so much is because this administration wants war with Russia. They just don't want to have it on our soil, which I agree with them. I don't want to have it here either, but I guess we can just destroy that country over there and keep, having war with Russia through them. They say we're not going to send any troops over there. Well, we're going to have to send some over there to train them how to use some of these weapons and tanks and things that we've given them. But this is getting really, really scary. And, it'd be bad enough with either Russia or China. But now that they're working together, it would not be a good deal there, guys. But I hope you guys are seeing that and seeing how scary it is out there too. But that whole deal could really blow up in our face, and it could knock this cattle market off its pedestal. It could change everything. I think it was Ronald Reagan that said nobody wins a nuclear war. That's why we should never ever have one. Well, if we had war with those two big countries combined, we wouldn't be shooting 22s hiding behind a rock, guys. They'd be pushing buttons and likely be the end of this world. But, I've talked about it enough about that. I know it's scary. Nobody wants to think about it. But my gosh, what have we gotten ourselves into here with this idiot that's leading us? The cattle on feed estimates have come out. Got a cattle on feed report this Friday. I don't know about it. It's a little bit scary. We thought we were going to get bombarded with bullish cattle on feed reports. Well, the analysts keep expecting them to be so bullish that it's hard for us to get a bullish one. I think we're a little bit that way this time with the placements again. They've got the inventories as of February the 1st pegged at 96.1 and a very narrow range of expectations from 95.7 to 96.5. So really narrow estimates there. Your placements, which is always everything, and they got them down to 97.2. And you think, well, I thought it'd be a whole lot less than that. It's a little bit wider on the range of guesses from 95.5 to 99.7. But that 97.2 might be pretty aggressive. I think maybe some of those bean counters are thinking that more producers are keeping back heifers for replacement than what they are. They don't realize how bad folks need the money and how high these inputs are and how much they put everybody behind. And so I think they're expecting more replacements to be kept back. In fact, your auction receipts were higher than they were a year ago. You remember we were having huge runs right after the first of the year through January there. Big runs everywhere, and everybody thought, well, maybe we're not that short of cattle. No, we were just selling them all really early. The market was coming up. It was getting good. So our auction receipts were actually up. And imports of Mexican feeder cattle are also up through the month of January. So I don't know how we're going to see the lighter placements, but I hope they didn't miss them too far. Marketings for January, they've got those at 104, and they're always pretty close. Let's talk about your board on Tuesday. Started out the week because Monday was a free day, remember. February live cattle up 117 at 164.75. My goodness. That's going to be about $3 higher than what our weighted average was in the 5 area last week. But February contracts are about to wind down here. Less than 5,000 contracts, open enters there. April was up 45 cents at 165.10. Back months were all up good from 22 cents to 75. March feeder cattle up 35 cents at 186.87. April up 35 cents at 190.80. Your back months were up more than that, from 50 to 85 cents, and corn was higher, up 2 3/4 cents at 6.80 1/2. Beans surged. It's all kind of news out of South America. Up 21 1/2 cents, 15.48 3/4 cents a bushel. Fat cattle trade, I told you earlier, I told you the big news earlier on the fat cattle trade. We did have 2,000 head sell confirmed on Tuesday in Iowa at 164. These are regional packers. I tell you, we have to have regional packers. They're the only ones that push the market for quality and push the market for numbers, because they don't have them all spoken for like your big four do. Nebraska had 1,900 head confirmed on Tuesday, from 160 to 161. So, you know, your fat cattle market's looking really good to start the week off. We haven't established anything yet, but we feel like it's sure going to be steady to probably higher, maybe gain another couple of bucks. Kansas and Texas haven't sold anything. Stockman's Livestock in Yankton had 3,200 head of fat cattle for their auction. That did hear that the quality was probably not nearly as good as last week. Your conventional cattle bring from 159 to 160, 175, basically steady. Your top sales of conventionals up to 164, 75. Didn't have enough drug-free cattle to really test the market. Non-implanted cattle made up the bulk of the run, and they sold from 160 1/2 to 166. Be a little bit cheaper on the top quotes there, but like I said, didn't have maybe the stick out deals that they had last week. And one note there, Yankton has canceled their feeder cattle auction for Wednesday with this storm coming through, and tell you what, they've taken a brunt of it right there in that part of the country. Talk about box beef cutout values, up again, huge. Choice cuts up 431 at 287.20. Selects up 279 at 270.84. Not sure if they're moving much product at that, but they just keep raising the prices on their menu that they send out, the packers do. Slaughter, pretty disappointing with having such a light slaughter on Monday, President's Day. Never remembered that being a big one to knock off on the slaughter, but only 231,000 for the first 2 days of the week. That's down 20,000 from last week, down 4,000 from the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Sure appreciate so many of you sending in your punchy picks for the Punchy Pick of the Month contest. We have a lot of fun looking at them. I'm not the one that selects them. Thank goodness. I do enough on this report here. I don't want to have to be the one to select them every time, but we've got some guys that are selecting those. I will give you a clue though. We're not going to select anything that looks like it was staged or a thing like that. Just got to be an impromptu pick when you're out doing your chores or doing your daily routine that happened that looks pretty punchy there. But don't forget, if you are the winner of the Punchy Pick of the Month, you will get a prize package including swag from Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver Feeds in Beaver, Oklahoma. But again, I get a $1,400 plus case of Therapies product, the topical product that I've told you that calms those cattle down. It doesn't have any withdrawal period, and it's just a revolutionary product. I think everybody needs to try it, see what you're going to do. It's really handy for weaning or anything that you think is going to put your cattle under stress. But check out the Punchy Pick of the Month. Be coming up here before too long. Your feeder cattle markets, your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Tuesday sitting at 183.41, down 23 cents. So a little bit cheaper as a whole on your market, but everything still looked pretty good and had several stick out deals I'm going to give you. How about your high volume sales? Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri, 3,900 head through the ring, nearly 700 more through their in-house video. They do with help from DV Auction. The feeder market was steady to $3 higher. Calves are $3 to $7 higher. Another big crowd of buyers there on hand looking for cattle to turn out in the Flint Hills and places like that. Your Zoetis stick out sale of the day. Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota. 3,200 feeders. Look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. You see 923 head of 7-weight steer calves in Kimball, South Dakota. They averaged 754 pounds with the weighted average price of $191.20. 800 head smooth of 8-weight steers in Kimball that averaged 848 pounds with a weighted average price of $179.37, and that was actually several dollars cheaper. But 402 head of 9-weight steers were higher, 940 pounds on the average. Weighted average price on all those 9-weight steers, $177.73. One big weight group of heifers, 273 head of them. 7 weights, average 724, weighted average price $174.71. Give you several individual quotes. How about Fredonia Livestock Auction in Fredonia, Kansas? They sold 70 head of steer calves, weighed 480 pounds for $2.65 a pound. That'd be enough. Rezac Livestock Commission there in St. Mary's, Kansas sells 64 steers, weigh 809 pounds at $184.50. North Platte Stockyards in North Platte, Nebraska sells 67 steer calves. They weighed 532 pounds for $251.50. Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma sells 60 steers, weigh nearly a grand, 994 pounds at $174.25. Time you get freight and expenses and your cost of gain on them, going to be cutting it pretty close, guys. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday, in your Mackerson, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of F&T Livestock Market. It was originally Farmers and Traders. I love that. In Palmyra, Missouri, been DV auction customers forever, been friends of mine forever. We used to report that market when I was in charge of market reporting in state of Missouri, but it's northeastern Missouri, up there north of Hannibal, Missouri, where Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn and all them lived. But that's these heifers, the Gottman heifers. I mean, the condition on them was outstanding. Quality was outstanding too. Maybe not the quality you need or the genetics to be kept for replacements. Your contending bidder and your winning bidder were both going to feed with those heifers, but the condition on them was out of this world. 70 head black heifers, thin and green, weighed 771, going to Illinois to feed, bring $189.50. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.